What's going on, everyone? This is Tony with Urban Girl Scout Media. I'm here today doing a Scoutcast with one of our biggest supporters, Doug.
Hello.
And we've got Jason here.
Hi.
Mars is in the room, of course. And we today are going to do a topic that's probably been done a bunch already. But we're going to talk about if Nintendo was going to release the next classic system. And we obviously would do Nintendo 64. So we made a list here that we'll let Doug read. This is our preliminary list that we came up with, and there's no shocker because there is actually a fair amount of games. So if you want to read the list.
All right. So first one on the list is Mario 64. Big surprise.
Yeah. Gotta have a Mario.
Gotta have a Mario.
And this really is not in any particular order of like
Right.
rankings of.
This was just the easiest ones to throw on.
Right. And most of these are going to be like, oh yeah.
Obviously.
We were trying to look far into the catalog and pull out as much of, as we could, but all right. The next one is Mario Kart 64.
Shocker.
Yeah. Shocker. Super Smash Brothers, the original. And this is where we got on a little tangent here.
Yeah, this is going to be a good topic is the Zelda.
Zelda, Ocarina of Time, or Majora's Mask. Now, if I've played both. Jay, I don't know if you...
I've dabbled in a Ocarina of Time, but never actually got all the way through.
Right. I would suggest Majora's Mask, in my opinion. But you brought up a good idea, Tony.
Yeah, so my idea was that you take the first one in the Zelda series and you set to a certain point where when you get to it, it unlocks the second one, just like they did with Star Fox in this, where it unlocked the second Star Fox after the first level.
Right.
So something like that to keep it interactive, because having the unlock ability, that was actually the first thing I did when I got mine.
Right, and you actually bring up a good idea of maybe there can be some type of special thing you do in the Zelda, the first one.
Exactly.
Some type of, not something you should do in the story, but something you should do on your own. That's kind of like a hidden Easter egg or unlock.
Something that players did.
Right.
A lot of that they found out, like, hey, after you beat the game, you could go back and do this when you play it. It's really fun. So they take one of those primary things that real big fans played, the Easter egg, like you said, and get to that point and you unlock the game.
If they did that for a lot of the games on there, I think it would make the system more fun and replayable if people were given like an agenda to get to other games.
Exactly.
That would be a neat little idea.
Well, like a couple years ago, though this is a long time ago, but they released the Sonic Masters on PlayStation 2, and there were several where you had to beat a lot of it to unlock several other games and whatnot. So that was it's pretty, it's pretty intense.
It'd be like an achievement system.
Exactly.
Like you have some type of special achievement to do in Zelda to unlock Zelda Majora's Mask.
Exactly.
That'd be pretty cool. All right. Donkey Kong 64. Is the next one.
Gotta throw it on.
Gotta throw it on. Let's see. Diddy Kong Racing. That was actually pretty... that was one of my favorite.
Yeah, I loved playing that when I was a kid.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
That was a good one to get together with friends.
That was the first one where you could choose multiple vehicles, and the maps were huge. Like you could just... it was open world. Like was a hub world.
Yeah.
In the beginning. That was a pretty cool game, for its time. GoldenEye 007. This.
You have to have that on.
You have to have
as
it.
long as they have licensing rights, this is an absolute must-be.
If they put out our entire list without GoldenEye, that thing's just not going to sell.
Yeah. I don't care how many Mario games you got.
Yeah, it's just put it on there. Banjo-Kazooie, I do believe that is a good game to put on there.
Yes.
You guys are right when you put that on the list. I didn't think of that at first, so...
that was all Jason.
Well played on that one.
Yeah. Jason wanted to do his research and all.
We didn't want to go too many racing games, because there's a lot.
Yeah, there are.
Doug brought up a really great point. You could literally do classic systems for the 64 on racing, other sports, and then adventure,
racing,
shooters,
shooters, wrestling.
Yeah,
you just put out a wrestling one. The games were great
easily.
For 64. Wave Race 64. Now I brought this up not because it was an awesome game, but it was one of the first games out for 64 when the 64 first came out.
Did it at times it come with the 64?
I think so. I
Do I
think
remember
it was
that correctly?
I think it was the selling point for the 64 at the time was Wave Race came with the system.
And then
so.
of course they probably gave the Mario away at points and
Yeah, there were
Always.
always. Yeah. So I thought of that just because when I first met you guys, that was the first game I played at your guys' house was Wave Race 64.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great,
We were like 12.
Yeah, that was a great multiplayer game, and
that's probably the strongest point about the N64 is that it changed the multiplayer
It really
experience.
It really did.
yeah,
It really did. Four player.
Way to go,
everything was-
Nintendo. Way to go.
Yeah, you know,
You did
They-
it. You did it.
yeah.
that could be a whole nother video of them making great ideas, them making bad ideas.
Yeah, they are a
then
roller
back
coaster.
to being great.
Yeah.
F-Zero,
Another racing.
because it's Nintendo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's F-Zero.
Yep.
Star Fox 64. So, yes, because it's Nintendo.
Again, Nintendo. They got to put the power in there.
Did we want to go through these two as an argument for the list? So we were arguing between Cruisin' World and Rush 2 because we didn't want to put too many racing games on the list.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would be fine if they're both on there.
Yeah,
but if an
I-
argument had to be made
Yeah, 'cause
for
I mean-
one of them,
I think currently we have like 4 or 5 racing games.
Yeah,
and-
5 not including Super Mario Kart 64.
Yeah,
Because
Right.
that's going to be on regardless.
yeah.
right?
And I think Diddy Kong belongs on there too. So you have 4 that we have left.
And they both have their own arguments.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
We were just saying Rush 2 still holds up today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rush 2, the stunt mode when you just
That's really all anybody wants to play.
yeah the stunt mode
the
where you're
best
just
thing.
trying to get the most points. That is
Yeah.
You know
Awesome.
what? Fuck it. Both.
Both.
Let's do it.
Yep. Let's do it both. Option C.
Option C. Both.
Perfect Dark because GoldenEye is on here and Perfect Dark should be too.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark was awesome. That X-ray gun.
oh
Bullshit. Yoshi's Story. That is legit.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, another dig deep and find by Jay
Yep.
that we would have completely overlooked.
yep. Another dig deep was Castlevania, which was really good. I'm the only one here that's probably played that.
yeah, I've never
So
played it.
True
so-
statement.
I was fine with that. And we do have some special.
Some
Ones.
cards, some ones that we speculated on, but these. So the list that we made, basically the parameters were they have no rights to sports, wrestling, Pokemon, Mortal Kombat, and we base this off of what we know who owns these things, and then what they've done so far with with the Super Nintendo Classic. So we had some games that we speculated on based on if they own the rights. So like Bomberman 64. Which I think that was more speculation on if there was room for it.
Yeah, that would be
Really?
a dope additive.
That would
We
would-
didn't talk
yeah.
about that before.
And then really 2 more driving games, which is this is when we stopped and we were like, we got to start recording
Yeah.
because
There's
it
so
was
many racing games.
Oh, yeah.
Off-Road Challenge and then Test Drive.
Yeah.
Which I remember to this day playing Test Drive. That was legit.
Yeah.
So, but 64 had so many great driving games. And then, I might get roasted on here, but the Beetle Adventure Racing.
Yeah.
That
My
was
sister
fun.
loved that, so
Hey.
that was an easy one if you had a little sister.
Yeah,
Let me get a like
Nope.
if you had a little
That-
sister and
right.
you played that with
Nobody's
them.
going to shame you for bringing up a childish Nintendo game because
Yeah,
a lot
man.
of them were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
that
and-
was the thing.
and that is what you kind of need. You need games for both, younger people and older people to play. And
But let's be real. Who the marketing they're this for? I mean,
Us.
this is for us.
yeah,
Yeah.
This is for us. I mean, they're targeting the people who were around when these games were hot.
They're targeting people who are anxiously making lists, whether it's on YouTube or in their head of
Right.
what games would be legit to play.
Right.
The people who want to collect but don't want to invest.
Right.
Stuff like that. They're making it for that group of people.
Right.
And this right here, if they sold that for $80, I mean, that list that we have is ridiculous.
And regarding to the rights question, we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
Before Pokemon, they probably have the rights to Pokemon since it is Nintendo.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good idea of there's probably no way to play that game like it was on the 64.
Yeah,
To
Pokemon
import
Yeah,
your
and
own
we're- and we're talking-
Pokemon and
yeah, we're talking Pokemon Stadium right now.
Pokemon Stadium.
Not
yes.
Arena, sorry,
not,
Stadium.
Not Snap or none of that.
Yeah, none of that Snap
Crap,
shit.
that was
I was so
garbage.
mad.
What a
People are like, oh,
garbage
let's play
game.
Pokemon Snap. Get out of here.
They come
Waste.
over to play that. I'm leaving. Going back home.
I'm taking that to Funko Land. That's the old place you used to sell your games to.
Right. So I don't know. That
It's just tough
it'd be
because, like,
pretty interesting.
the experience for me with Stadium, and we did this a couple years ago. We might actually need to do video on that when we all lived together and we did the stadium challenge.
We did the challenge. We all played Pokemon, the originals.
Yeah,
we all
start
went and
from
bought
scratch.
the originals from a pawn store. And we played through, made our own teams. It was red blue. We had to use, it had to be red blue. We had limitations. No Mewtwo.
No Mewtwo, yeah.
Basically, we just wanted to beat Sean.
Yeah, basically everybody. As long as we beat Sean.
As long as someone beat Sean, and I think
I got Chansey.
Chansey. But no, but that was part of the experience though, was you got to build your team and you got to put them on the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not only was that just a huge step forward in terms of what you could do with gaming, but 5-6 years ago, or however long ago it was that we lived together, we were doing that.
Yeah.
And there was PlayStation 3 and Xbox and all that, and we were still playing this old cartridge system.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun.
It was amazing.
That was a lot of fun.
We were playing Game Boy and Nintendo 64, and they were joined together.
And we went hard.
Yeah.
We went hard.
They were studying online. I remember studying online.
I did.
Now, given that most of our teams were very similar, because there are some Pokemon that you have to have on the team if you want to do well. There's only 150 Pokemon between the four of us,
and
so,
like probably 75 to 80% are just Jake.
Yeah,
they're just not good.
They're just fillers. They're just there for the kids.
Every team had a Taurus on it because Taurus in that game is dope. You know, I went a little. I had a dope Cloyster. I said I'm gonna have one Pokemon that nobody's gonna have. And nobody realizes that Cloyster actually has the highest defense in the whole game.
My sleeper.
And a decent special attack. So
my sleeper, pun intended, was Snorlax.
Oh! Alright, we're going to have to make a video on this now. He's here all week.
Oh, man.
But no, so that was the biggest issue with the Pokemon game, is that they have to figure out a way to give you a variety of Pokemon to play on it. They can't just give you 150 Pokemon and then expect that to hold up.
Pokemon Stadium 2, maybe. That had the next gen on it, I believe.
It might not be bad.
So,
or again, maybe an unlockability.
That game was really big though. They might not. I mean, as in size. So
that was something Jason brought up.
Yeah, that's why.
There's gonna be limitations.
Before we started this conversation, I had mentioned that I believe the SNES Classic had 19 pre-programmed games in it.
I think the NES had 20, 24, something like that.
Yeah. So I figured since the Nintendo 64 games were, a lot bigger in size-wise, that I would say 16 to 18 games for the Nintendo Classic.
And that's also...
The technology's out there.
Yeah.
They can make it happen.
But, that's also to keep it so that they can have that small box. Now, the other thing is, let's be honest, people are going to hack these, and they're going to add a whole bunch of games. So, I don't know how that's going to factor in.
I feel like they covertly expected people to do that.
Yeah,
they have such huge memories.
Yeah, because they put they have like a few gigs worth.
Which is really surprising for Nintendo because they're usually really sticklers about them people
Again,
tampering with their
It's one of those things where it's like it's a high up good decision versus one of those low down dirty.
Well, somebody high up was like, well, they're gonna do it, so we might as well just.
Yeah.
Why not just make it big enough so they can do it so that they don't open it, ruin it, and then rip on us online?
Yep. That was a good idea.
Way to go, Nintendo. See, that's twice that we've said Nintendo's done something good.
I know, that's a big surprise.
Nintendo?
I know.
I mean, we're talking about stuff that's happened over the past few decades, but whatever.
But I know we were having a conversation before that. Like, if they took their catalogs and split them up into different N64 classics and really went super target market, you could make one just out of wrestling games, just out of racing games, just out of fighting games.
As long as they do have the rights to them. Yeah.
As long as they have the rights to them, which,
but it would
they're Nintendo,
sell.
They're going to cover their ass.
Yeah.
It would sell. They did that. Like, if you're telling me I could go buy a a Nintendo 64 Classic, and it had, let's say, the Kobe Bryant game, Blitz.
Yep. Hang Time.
Yep. I can't think of some of the other ones.
There's a bunch that we're just not thinking of right now, but
I was so focused on all these non-sports games that and then same thing with fighting, because we don't have the Mortal Kombat games.
There's no Mortal Kombat. Trilogy was really good for.
Yeah, Trilogy.
It was really fun.
If they could get Killer Instinct on there, that would be a great one. So I don't know. There's a lot that they could do, but just as a base, I think our list is probably there's no shocker, like we said.
Yeah, there's no shocker.
It's pretty straightforward, but that would still be. The goal can't be to shock people. The goal has to be, we need to sell this and make it a collector's item, just like they did with the other two. Give us enough room so we can hack it. make sure there's 4 ports. I want 4 controller ports.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So help me God, Mr. Nintendo.
that would be interesting if they had
Now-
to go with that.
Speaking of controllers, I did mention one game that a lot of people probably are assuming why isn't on our list is Mario Party.
Oh, this is good.
And I had mentioned that
About to get a history lesson.
Yeah, Nintendo there was actually a class action lawsuit against Nintendo because so many people got hand injuries,
Shaved hands,
yeah,
bleeding palms.
and broken controllers.
Better rub some cussing on it.
I mean, most of those was us, but we weren't going to sue nobody.
Yeah.
I mean,
We didn't know you could sue.
I did not know we could sue at 15 years old. I didn't know that.
Where was that on the internet?
Right.
But yeah, so
Damn it,
we
AOL.
did not think Mario Party. I don't know. I know for sure the first one. I want to say the second one as well.
The second one was toned down.
Yeah.
You could still
Because it
injure your
yeah,
hand.
because it still made
It was
you do
the
like,
damn spinning games.
yeah, it was the spinning games that you had to like
Man.
spin the joystick, and the only way to do it so quickly was to actually put it in the center of your palm and just spin.
Right. Until you bleed.
Yeah,
And then
If
you
you want to
win.
win, you want to bleed.
Yes, that is correct.
and there like so many controllers got broken that way. So
Oh,
many
yeah.
people's like palms got.
How many controllers in your 64 career
Oh,
have you been through?
We have had.
I mean,
We have had probably close to a dozen.
just for the people out there, we as a group of friends, we've played 64 since it has come out.
I still do.
Still do. To this
I
day,
literally played it yesterday.
Literally, we still.
It's all about the retro, man.
It is, and we still get into big friend fights and arguments about Super Smash Brothers, and Blitz and Rush. Those
Yeah.
are one of the 3 biggest games we still play as a collective unit of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I want to see. I want Blitz
Oh, and GoldenEye.
and GoldenEye.
Yeah,
yes.
I want
well,
Blitz.
if the fight gets to that point, the GoldenEye goes in.
Yeah.
Usually it's a problem solver. So, yeah, our fans got really fucked up playing a lot of Mario Party, and
Yeah.
it was not a fun time. And if you drew blood and lost in Mario Party, then you were just angry.
Yeah.
And you didn't really want to play
cleaning
anymore.
your hand, just
Yeah.
furious.
Like,
Yeah.
can I get a Band-Aid before we start the next round, please?
Yeah, so that is why we left it off the list. Now, I like I said, the first one I know for sure was really bad at that.
Yeah, it
The
was
second and
bad.
third one that were on 64 might not
really
be
play
as
that
bad.
as much, did we?
The second one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recall
I think
playing
the
the
bleeding
third.
palms turned us off a lot on the
Yeah.
next Mario parties that came out.
Yeah, I don't recall playing the third one that much, but the second one I recall playing, but I can't recall if it had like as bad as with the circle.
I don't recall it having horrible. I mean, there was still some you had to, carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
But you get carpal tunnel from. But other than that, they toned it down.
Yeah, I think once a lawsuit came against Nintendo for that, they were like, okay, we gotta tone it down.
We could make a whole video on video games with dumb controls that hurt your hand. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, they just didn't.
They didn't know what they were doing.
They didn't know what they were doing.
They didn't have the internet to give them instant feedback.
Right.
That's what the problem
Right.
was.
That's what it was too. Let's just
So-
whatever controls we can make to kill everybody's hands.
They'll
just
sell.
Make it
They'll
harder.
sell.
Yeah.
They won't communicate.
So that one of the Mario parties, probably second or third if they did tone it down. Definitely a second one if they toned it down. Would be on the list as long as it doesn't hurt your palms.
Yeah. So that leads to did we forget anything? Can we think of anything that would be legit if we could put? I know we talked about Killer Instinct and that they don't have the licensing.
Yeah, I think the only ones that we're forgetting are ones that we're not sure if they actually would have licensing for.
Right.
Because I mean, like we said, no wrestling games. I mean, there's a lot of wrestling games that should be on the list. Sports games.
I was away from you guys when you talked about Bomberman.
Jason just brought
that up.
I'm glad you thought of that because
I wouldn't have.
I
didn't even think
I
about
loved Bomberman.
Yeah, and that is actually you were talking about. They better have 4 ports. If Bomberman's on this list,
it has to have 4.
It has to have 4
Yeah.
ports because that's a party game.
Yeah.
That's just as valuable a party game as Mario Party.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
if you add that on the list, what would you take off? Because we are at the if we're trying to keep it between.
it would have
16,
to be a race game that comes off. That's the problem.
I would say goodbye Castlevania. Hello Bomberman.
I mean,
So the other one thing that I wanted to bring up was something that Jason said. How legit would it be if they could add South Park and Duke Nukem?
It would be super legit.
Now, there's a lot of issues with not the trademark issue doesn't matter. We're laughing because we know what the issue is. The issue is these are not kid-friendly games.
The greatest thing they could do that I just thought of is to put South Park on the game with something that you can unlock by beating the game. Oh my god!
If people don't know, the original South Park game on Nintendo 64 is unbeatable. It literally
it's legit has no end.
With cheats, you cannot beat it.
Yeah. So having some type of something you unlock this if you beat South Park. That sounds something like South Park would tell them like you have to put this in.
They're gonna say you can unlock the secret South Park game that we didn't release. All you have to do is beat the game.
Oh man, that would be the biggest troll.
That
would be great.
I honestly feel like people would not too many people might not know.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people that
don't know that it's unbeatable.
Yeah, that's what would make it hilarious.
Beat South Park.
Oh my god.
Beat South Park and we'll pay for your N64 Classic.
Right. Something crazy.
You
win $1 million or something crazy.
So, but if they could just figure out a way to either get people to not be butthurt or tone down the language, Duke Nukem and or South Park would be incredibly fun to add.
Because as far as shooters, there's not a lot. I mean, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark are really...
That's where I feel like we're lacking on this list, but a lot of that, again, comes back to trademark.
Yeah.
And
it's a library at the time. And it's just a lot of race. They did a lot of racing.
Yeah, and they did racing games well.
Yeah,
I feel like
what they did with the Nintendo 64 was that's when they started changing it to more group play. Because they added the 4 ports.
Party play.
They added the 4 ports, and they were like, okay, well, we got to have a lot of games that can, a lot of people can play. So and
a lot of people who don't play games consistently can easily get into racing and occasionally.
I mean, they didn't require a lot of grinding to learn to play. So you didn't have to be good.
And honestly, something that we haven't said a word about is the actual controller itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would they do that in a mini state? That's a big ass controller.
That's going to be tough to throw 4 of those.
They might have to rework the controller, redesign it a little bit.
Yeah.
To make it work.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you can get online and find different variations of it that are a little bit. So maybe one of those slimmer ones, but to me, I would love if they did the original controller and just said, "Fuck it, we're gonna go overboard."
That'd be a box the size of the original box.
That would be. I mean, it would be ridiculous. It would be absurd, but.
I mean, I would assume they wouldn't put 4 though. They wouldn't put 4 controllers. I would say they'd put 2, and then they'd probably make you buy the other.
What if the mini isn't? It's the same size as the actual 64.
Well, if the mini is the same size,
it's just all in there.
Yeah, it's just all in there.
If the mini's the same size, I expect more games.
Yeah.
If the classic becomes the same size, then I expect a ton of games on there.
Right. If I could buy a thumb drive with 3 terabytes on it, nowadays, I think we can fit it in.
So. If I can get Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega on my phone, the emulators.
Yeah.
It's not. Come on, guys.
Right.
Let's do this right.
The technology is there.
The technology is there, Mr. Nintendo. Mr. Nintendo. But yeah, I think we're about winding down on it. I can't think of anything else. I really wish we could figure out a way, if they had the trademark for sports games, and then fighting everything else. I mean, that would change a little bit, especially if it had limited to 20. That would have made it impossible.
I don't know how the business end works on that, but I don't see how hard it would be for somebody as big as Nintendo to get the rights for a game that came out 10, 15 years ago.
20,
for certain rights, obviously you're looking at the different rights for players that are still in the game.
Yeah.
As opposed to players that are retired, because it comes down to players. That's what you're buying is their name.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works for older games, where maybe the rights change different. Maybe it'll be easier for them to get the rights to NBA hoops and the Maddens and the Blitzes. So I don't know. Educate us on that, YouTube.
Yeah.
In the comments.
So I think we did our work. We gave you the list. All you gotta do is figure out the logistics of some of these. And honestly, you could take the games that you own and put it on and not even have to deal with the extra shit.
That would be cool.
So I predict that they're gonna do this. I predict that they're going to release They'll do the N64, and then I think the N64 is going to be so wildly popular because they just keep going up that they're going to be an idiot and they're going to do the GameCube.
Well, let's not shit all over the GameCube yet. I
right,
enjoyed
all
the GameCube.
I was not too big on the GameCube.
I mean, at the time, people were a little like, "What the fuck is this mini disc crap?" Like,
Yeah.
You know, it was a little scary at first, but there were some really solid games
That might be
for
another
the GameCube.
that might be another discussion we
You know,
have.
and now there's like, I don't know if you guys know, but it's like making a comeback. Like a lot of these old school GameCube is like it's like since it became a classic system is hot now. And a lot of GameCube games are really
Damn these
pricey.
hipsters.
Yeah, like there's you know a couple good Star Wars games for it. There's you know
Hey,
that's a whole other video.
Yeah.
But
Well, see,
let's not shit on the GameCube. All right.
okay, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance.
I mean,
no.
first off, I'm shitting on the controller.
All right.
The GameCube
well,
controller sucked.
I respectfully disagree.
I'm shitting on that little handle they had on the back that looked like you could swing the console around.
Yep. Okay. I understand. But,
That in itself, I was like, nope, you lost me.
well, I never shredded the palm of my hand on a GameCube controller.
This is true.
so-
This
Hey,
is true.
well, they figured it out. Nintendo was like, but we made that mistake.
That's
We're not
right.
going to step in that one again.
Yeah.
But no, so I think, I think that's a pretty good list, Nintendo. Get on your shit. So what they do, like 2 or 3 years apart on the Nintendo and Super Nintendo.
I
So
didn't think it was that much.
Yeah,
I felt like they came out real fast. Like
I think it was 2 years.
was it 2 years?
I think it was
It
2
had to have
years.
been, yeah, 2
Yeah.
years.
so I mean, we're about 8 months since the Super Nintendo came out, 8 or 9 months, something like that. So
And it might take them a little longer for something like as you get closer. The bigger games might take longer to format to a smaller system,
yeah.
as in like like a block memory. So who knows?
And possibly like trademark, trying to get the rights to some of the games or something.
Which we
But
hope they do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that they're going to release another one of these. Just
I would not
because
say that it's a stretch either.
it's like everything we've done in this video or in this Scoutcast have been pretty much just safe predictions. But you know, when we get it correct, we're gonna come back and gloat. I almost said bloat. We're gonna gloat about that shit after we're bloated from beer.
When you're as big as Nintendo is, and you have a long history of great games, to do stuff like this is printing money. You have it's just a license to print money.
It is.
When you have all these games that people still want to play,
Yeah.
as opposed to the sales of the
Current
The
systems
minis?
are
that the sales of the minis show exactly what people want. You know, games nowadays, sorry internet, but are a lot of garbage.
yeah.
Okay, same old shit,
Just,
different day.
Yeah, it's the same story through every
recycled
game.
crap.
Yeah.
And every now and again we'll get a gem, but there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of games out there that could be redistributed in a new way and print money.
Yep.
And that's what I think Nintendo is starting to finally realize.
And on top of that, it feels like when they release these, it feels like it's a thank you, because a thank you to the gamers who are still interested in those, because it's not easy to get your hands on one of these systems. You're either
Every day gets harder.
Yeah.
you're either hoping that your big box store has one or two in stock, or you're paying double online. I mean, I had a friend who paid $160 for the exact same console that I bought for $80 at a big box store. So it is a big thank you, and the value of it shows almost immediately, and how few they print. But if you get your hands on one, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but alrighty, well, I think that does it. Appreciate Doug and Jason coming in and helping us out, and hopefully you guys agree with our list. Thanks, guys.